is Quentin Pullen, and I want to be your next mayor.
My name is Brenda Strautman with Costa Mesa Brief, and we are meeting today with Quentin Pullen, also known as Coach Q, who is running for mayor. Thank you for meeting with us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's start, of course, what made you decide to run for mayor?
Oh, you know, one of the things that I say to people in my time in the military, in a time where we need leadership, leaders step up, you know? I've been running my own business in Costa Mesa for about almost 30 years. It's been about 27 years now. And I've been kind of in the background, kind of doing my own charity work, helping people out in the community. And over the last 4 years, I've kind of gotten activated to start being more involved. So my wife and I have been doing a lot more community service, a lot more involvement in volunteering and giving of ourselves to our community. And last year, January 2019, we had a government shutdown. And I felt so bad for the workers that were government workers in our airport who weren't getting paychecks. They were driving in and being forced to work and not getting paid for it. So what I did was I called up Mayor Katrina Foley and I said, hey, I would like to go over and feed those guys at the airport. She connected me with Rick Francis, and he made it possible for me to come over, and I pitched in my own money, raised some with my clients. I have a photo of me with a wheelbarrow wheeling a lunch for the afternoon shift over to the airport and just giving it to them. So I gave those guys lunch and gas cards and things like that because I felt like these are people in our community. Some of them don't live in our community, but they serve in our community. They work for us in our community. We all fly through that airport. And so I felt compelled to go over and help these people, you know? And that was January. And 2 months later, our mayor took office, and one of her first things was, hey, I'm gonna go run for state senate, you know? And for me, as a military guy, I couldn't understand a person saying, hey, I know you just elected me, but I'm gonna go do something different. So my thing was, you didn't even finish your term. You haven't even been in office but a couple months, and now you wanna say goodbye to us? So I felt like a second date, you know? I felt like she has other aspirations, and I encouraged that. I said that was great, but Costa Mesa needs someone that's gonna be here for them. They need somebody in leadership that's going to get out in the community, create better relationships, you know? One of my biggest things is that we don't relate well to each other. You know, we insult each other, we pull each other to the left or to the right. I don't have a political party, you know? What I do is I see what's going on in my community and I go, how can I help? How can I be of service? And so this is the next stage for me in my life. I just turned 50 in March. And the next stage for me is to get more involved in my community, try to make a bigger difference, try to make my impact in the community stronger, you know, try to get rid of those party lines, man. Our city council is supposed to be nonpartisan.
So what is your military background?
So it's a little bit extensive. When I was in high school, I joined the JROTC program from 9th grade to senior year. And everyone thought I was gonna go in the Army, but I had a cousin that was in the Marine Corp at the time. And when I saw him come home in his dress blues, I was like, okay, that's what I want. So in 11th grade in high school, I decided right then that I wanted to join the Marine Corps, you know? So I graduated from high school in 1988 and had a month off from high school and went directly into the Marine Corps, you know? And so I've served in the Desert Storm War and all those things. And some years later, about 1998, decided that I want to get my 20 years in. So I'd done 5 years active and then the 3 years reserve time onto the initial enlistment, but I wanted to get my 20 years. So the closest thing to Costa Mesa was the naval base in Long Beach. And so I re-enlisted and joined the Navy Reserve. And at the same time, I was in college getting my degree in electronics engineering. So I did a 4-year stint in the Navy Reserve. While I was in school, my school schedule got to be a little bit too much, so I had to step away from the Navy Reserve. But my intention was to get my commission as an officer and complete my reserve time. but business, family, the whole nine, I got remarried and things like that. So life took over and I just continued with what I was doing.
Okay, so you did mention you're nonpartisan.
Yes.
And city council is supposed to be nonpartisan.
Yes.
And the majority of the voters in America are independents. They're nonpartisan. So how can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
bring that back to our city where it used to be?
You know, I think the best thing to do is to have conversations with people, create a relationship with people, because when a person understands that you have their best interests at heart, when you're listening to them, when you're making that connection where they feel like their voice is heard, where they feel like their opinion matters, even if they don't get their way, they've said their piece, and that compromise of, hey, you may not get everything that you want, but let's see what we can agree to together, you know? And so I think those things, you know, let's drop our partisan politics thing and say, look, I'm a Costa Mesa resident. What do I need for my livelihood to be happy in my community, you know? And it's basic things, and those basic things we can all agree to. We want a safe city. We don't want homeless roaming our city. We don't want a drug-infested city. We want our kids to have good schools. We want all these things. How do we agree to get those things done? And those are the places where we have to be able to come together as a council and go, okay, let's get the basics done first, because everything else will fall in line, you know?
Do you have any donors that are partisan?
You know, I have donors, and here's the cool thing. I'm not asking any business for money, you know? What I'm asking is friends and family and people who know me. And my campaign committee is, I say omnipartisan because it's every single leaning, you know? It's people who don't have a party. It's people who are Republicans and Democrats and Green Party, whatever it is. What I wanted to do, putting together my campaign committee, is I want to know how every single person that represents the demographic in Costa Mesa feels, you know? I want you guys to help me create policies that you want, not what I want, because I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I'm happy regardless, you know? So I am getting input from everyone. I don't care the political party.
What issues are unique to our city? Because that's why we're supposed to be nonpartisan, is we don't have this national issues. We do, but we have unique issues just to our city.
Our city, and if you look at the demographic, it's 60-something% white, 38 to almost 40% Hispanic, and then it's 0.2% or 2% other, you know? Well, that's an interesting demographic right there, you know? So you look at the needs of the city. I look at it as this. We have to treat our city like it's our home, because it is our home. So would you run your home with a kind of Chevy financial, you know, leanings? No. So I think right now we're in financial trouble, you know? And so the way I think about things is spending for my home. If I want to go out and buy a new stereo and I got $10 in my bank account, I can't afford that. So why would I go spend the money for that? Why would I add on to credit for something that I just can't afford? So our city, we have some financial issues that really need to be addressed first, you know? And I tell people these things. We can't address other policies without the financial backing, because the financial backing is how we get those other things done, you know? So yeah, I think the financial thing is our major issue right now.
So how would you rework the budget?
Well, my first instinct is to say, how can we make more money? You know, as a business owner, you know, I've gone through, you know, ebbs and flows in my business, and the thing I say is, okay, we need a new car, so for me, I need to take on a new client or figure out another revenue stream so that I can actually increase the revenue and I'm not struggling, you know? So one of my first things is, let's talk to the city about, hey, give us ideas of companies, business. Let's back there's a thing called the opportunity agreement, right? We have small businesses in Costa Mesa that can benefit from that, you know? We should be out researching those businesses and asking for people to take those opportunities in our city. Let's not let another major corporation come into our city and put these small businesses out of business. Let's give these opportunities to small business. Let's help people in our community get jobs and things like that. So if we're not looking into our community first, you know, we have to. If we're not if we have unemployed people in our city, if we have homeless in our city, they're not contributing, you know? So how do we address those things? We have to look at things on a case-by-case basis. Things are fluid, things change. There's a whole lot of issues that are going to come up that we need to look at and go, okay, how are we going to deal with these, you know?
One of the things the council has been debating right now is allowing marijuana sales and deliveries in Costa Mesa. The voters did vote against that.
Okay.
Where do you stand on that? If, say, it goes to the ballot and the voters do vote for it, is that something that could bring in more revenue?
Oh, absolutely. I started doing some research on the cities that have already legalized recreational use. I looked at the law enforcement websites and I looked at the city revenue. All of those cities are at a surplus in their budgets right now, you know? And the law enforcement site said that crime hasn't increased in those areas. As a matter of fact, some of the crime from those drug crimes have dropped, you know? So if we can not increase addicts in our city, not increase crime in our city, and then increase revenue, it's a win-win for us. You know, our major thing is, and I'm all about class, you know? We have dispensaries in our city right now that are kind of hole-in-the-wall places that
are not supposed to be
that shouldn't be there. What I want to do is, and the legalization of recreational is on the ballot this time. If we do legalize that, I think what we should do for our city is, you go to Bevmo. Bevmo is a classy establishment. You don't see, like, you don't feel scummy when you go into that place. So what I say is we need classy dispensaries in our city that people can go in and feel like, oh, there's no crime element here, you know? And so I've been going around doing the research on how can this help our city, you know? That's one of the biggest things right now that could help our city. You know, Santa Ana did recreational use. Santa Ana is raking in the cash right now. We're right next door to that, you know? We have the ability to generate revenue in our city from those sales, you know?
So, what is your leadership style? If you're the mayor, how are you going to lead differently?
Well, accountability and responsibility is my biggest thing. I'm not a micromanager, and I'm also a person who believes in delegating. You know, the mayor's position, any government position is not a position of a savior, you know? What it is a position where, you know, I'm willing to do as much as you're willing to do. Are you willing to take responsibility for the things that you do right and the things that you do wrong, you know? We can't punish people when they make a mistake, you know? So my style of leadership is, what did you learn, you know? How are you doing, you know? Creating that relationship with people where they feel compelled to do good. You know, one of the first questions I ask people, you know, dealing with people in business or personally is, are you a good person? You know, so people that are, Costa Mesa is going to elect a brand new city council. And if I'm elected mayor, that will be one of my first questions. Are you a good person? And what makes you a good person? Are you here for the good of the city? And how do you define that? How do you define what's for the good of the city? You know, and so those are things that I want to know, because I believe that good people intend to do good regardless. Do they make mistakes? Absolutely, you know? And so my style of leadership is, yes, I'm a human being. You know, yes, I'm an influential person. I'm gonna hold you responsible for what you say and what you do. You know, I'm gonna hold you accountable for those things, you know? Are you gonna be personally responsible for those things? And are you gonna be personally accountable?
You've mentioned homeless a couple times.
Yes.
The city's homeless numbers are not changing year by year, and this has been an ongoing issue. What do you plan to bring to the table that's different?
Well, the bridge shelter has been doing well, you know, and I'm really encouraged by the results they're getting out of there, and the, you know, retraining and the, you know, getting people off drugs and things like that. Here's one of the things that I believe with the homeless. How many times do we ever sit and talk with the homeless about what they need, you know? Or do we just decide collectively that this is what the homeless need? So these are human beings. These are people who have needs and wants and who have situations that put them where they're homeless, you know? We should never, ever give up on the residents of Costa Mesa and the people that are in Costa Mesa. So for me, I say, go talk to the homeless. What do you need? How can we help you? Every person, first time out, you're not gonna be best friends with the first person you meet, you know? It's gonna take a little bit of time. So if I talk to a homeless person today, and then I see them tomorrow, how are you? You know, what do you need? What can we do for you? You know, hey, we have this resource for you. Would you like to take advantage of this? No? Okay, you're not going to be able to stay here all the time. We want to help you. We want to help you get your life back in order. How can we help? So we should always be in that mindset of helping people and not turning our backs on them.
Another issue you've mentioned is the crime.
Yes.
And that's actually been in a decline.
It's been in a decline, yes, ma'am.
So what do you plan to do differently to continue that or increase that decline?
I'm so happy you asked that question. I met with Chief Glass a couple weeks ago, and he was one of the first people that I wanted to meet with because we served together at MCAS Tustin. You know, so he was a Marine, I was a Marine. I was so delighted to meet with him, and we sat down and I started asking him about the police schedule because everyone talks about community policing, you know, but what are you doing? You know, how do you make this better? And so one of the suggestions that I said to him is, let's talk to the patrol officers that are on duty and say, I want you to meet 5 new people today. And every day that you're on work, meet 5 new people. If you meet 5 new people every single day, before long you're going to meet the whole city. And people are going to start having a level of comfort with you where they'll start sharing things with you. When I was a kid in Atlanta, my father was a pastor in the neighborhood. We knew the police officers that patrolled our neighborhood. We knew them by name. Sometimes they would park their car and shoot hoops with us, you know? That's the kind of thing that I want to see in Costa Mesa. I told Chief Glass, I'll go out in the community with you, you know, because I want to be out there with the community, talking to the community, letting them know we're here for you. You don't have to feel nervous in your own community. You don't have to be afraid, you know? And please, we need your help. We need your help to make our community better because we can't do this alone. No one can make the city better alone. We have to do this together.
So how do you feel about defunding the police then?
I think that is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And I almost lost my classy side and gave a little curse word, but I think that the messaging is bad of that. You know, I think my entire life I've been hearing police reform, and I'm 50 years old. It hasn't happened yet, you know? Reform is what we need. Reform in a sense of community policing. Let's give our police officers what they're asking for. Let's get them to full staff. Because when they're at full staff, that 5-person thing, hey partner, I'm gonna go meet these people over here and talk to them, you know? Listen to the radio, you know? So we can now share in the responsibility of community policing and all those other things, you know? So I'm so, when I see this thing about defund police officers, we need police officers, but we need good police officers. We need police officers that will go, hi ma'am, how are you? You know, not get on the ground and do this, right? People respond better when you are cordial to them, when you're nice to them, when you treat them like a human being than when you're commanding them. No adult, no, I mean, you have kids. How many of your kids jump to the first demand or command you give them? But could you please do this? Absolutely, because that's showing politeness, that's showing respect, you know, and things like that. So I believe, you know, across the board, we need to find a way to get our respect back, you know, for each other, you know, respect each other as human beings, and we'll go a lot further than, you know, you're this party, you're that party, and I don't agree with you, you know?
The reason I asked that question is there was some controversy on Facebook because somebody went on your page and saw you had a Black Lives Matter flag.
Yes, yes.
So what's your stance on that?
You know, that's the other question I'm happy that you asked me. The controversy around Black Lives Matter, this is my answer. I'm a Black life. Do I matter? You know, that's an easy question, you know? If you say yes, we're good to go, you know? If you say no, why do you feel that my life doesn't matter as much as yours does, you know? My thing is equality, by any means necessary, you know? So I don't want my immigrant wife to be treated any differently than I am, you know? I don't want a child to be treated any differently than I am, you know? I don't want, what we have to do is start understanding that we're all human. We all have the same basics, right? We all need and want a safe, we want to earn a good living, we want to have housing, we want a, you know, safe community, we want all those things. So for me, people have been asking me, do you support the organization? No, you know, what I support is the movement. Absolutely, I'm a Black life. It would be disingenuous for me to say, you're a Black life, but you don't support Black Lives Matter. Black lives do matter. I'm a Black life, I do matter. So that's how I feel about that. So I don't want people to, you know, people are asking me about rioting and looting and things like that. I look around our city, I go, we don't have that here, you know? Like you said, our crime rate is dropping. What are you afraid of? This is the opportunity for us to say, okay, let's make our community stronger. Let's get together and embrace each other. social distance wise, but let's show the rest of the world we don't have those problems. Our police force is solid. I oftentimes will push a wheelbarrow or carry sandbags around the block a couple miles, and I go by the police station every day. I live right on that street. Hello, how are you doing? Have a good day. And that's the way that I approach every single person, whether they're in uniform or not. So I believe that when it comes to all this stuff, do we have a history where black people in America were treated unfairly? Absolutely. The 60s weren't that long ago. So do we have some? And when I say I don't think that there are issues, I think there are challenges. And challenges are meant to be met. So do we have some challenges in America? Yes, we do. In our community? No, we don't. So I'm here to talk about how we make our community better. We make our community better by being inclusive, by being understanding, by loving your neighbor.
So if the rioting and looting did start here for some Black Lives Matter protests, where would you stand on that? What would you do?
There's an organization called Free Hugs, the Free Hugs movement, Free Hugs Television. One of the things that they do is they go to these cities that are having issues with police in the community, and they stand in the middle between the police and between the community. And what they say is this: look, there's a better way to handle this. I don't believe in extremism in any sense. Extreme love, that's a really good thing, but to swing to a point where you feel like you need to destroy property to get your point across, I don't agree with that. And so what I would say is this: if you come into Costa Mesa with the intent to do ill, we have a police force. Under me, we'll have a fully staffed police force, and we're going to deal with you. We're going to make sure that those people who intend to destroy our city are held accountable. So, and I don't care who it is.
Speaking, you had mentioned the riots and everything.
Yes.
One new issue we have in our city is protesting at the mayor's house. Do you support protesting at an elected official's home?
I don't. I sent Katrina Foley a text message last week, and I said, listen, I'm so sorry to see what you're going through. I go, this is not fair to you. And I didn't get into the political part of it. That's not my concern. My concern is this is your home. You should feel safe in your home. I'm sorry that you're dealing with this. And please, Costa Mesa, let's not do that. We're better than that. If you have something to say, hey, shoot me an email. One of the things that I want to do as a mayor, I want a cell phone with a number where people can call me or send me a text message. Hey, Mayor, I have a question for you. Absolutely, ask me. I want to do a couple things where I'm a fitness coach. I spent my life helping people perform better and reach their highest levels, so I want to help our community do that. I want to have, I train in this park often, I want to have community workouts in the park together where we get together in these areas and help each other get healthy, help each other get closer and things like that. And so we don't have to worry about all the other stuff, so I want to be out in the community as much as I possibly can. I'm fortunate with my work schedule. I work from 6 a.m. until about 9 or 10, and I don't go back until late afternoon. And so I have a big block in the middle of the day. I know the mayor's position is a part-time position. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go there every day. I want to sit there. If a person in our community says, hey, I want to sit and talk with you about something, make an appointment. Absolutely. I'm there for you,
So one final question.
Okay.
Why should the voters of Costa Mesa vote for you?
The voters of Costa Mesa have said long that they want change. If you want change, you don't vote for the same person in office. You don't vote for the same council. What you do is you change it. I'm a changed candidate. I don't believe in political parties. What I believe in is making the city better. It is my intention and it's my duty, I feel, as a military person, as a person that has served my community and served my country, to give back. I want to make sure that the people of Costa Mesa have their voices heard, are part of the process, and get involved with helping the community. What I'm asking for people is this: give me 1 hour of your time once a month to volunteer in your city. And so what we'll do is we'll get a coalition of people of Costa Mesa residents in our parks, on our roads, helping to clean up. We're gonna have to do this because, like I said, we don't have the money in our budget. So I'm asking for the community to help me lead Costa Mesa. I'm not getting into office saying, I'm gonna do this myself, There are past and present leaders in Costa Mesa. One of my things is this: if you've been a past city council member, a past mayor, I need your help. I need your help to come and sit with me in the office and say, hey, I'm still a leader in this community. This is how I can help you move the community forward. Let's drop the partisan politics. If you've been a leader in our community, I need you. I need you to come to City Hall and help me run our community. I need everyone, a collective effort of people that are leaders who intend to do well in our community, the pastors of our community, you know, the organizations, different leadership groups, business owners, everybody. This is a call for everyone in Costa Mesa to get involved. And this is, if you really want change, bring it. Bring yourself, bring your time, and bring your effort to make our community better. Don't just let this be on 7 people, you know? Let this be on our whole community.